Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a TV review of episode 2 of In the Flesh. So now, before I get into this review, I'd like to remind you that there are only 3 episodes in this series. So this middle episode really concentrates on the arrival of the son of the kind of the militant leader of this kind of like human resistance movement coming back from the war as a zombie, or as a kind of like a post-deceased sufferer, or whatever it is they call it. And he's also the best friend of Kieran, who is the kind of the zombie we've met in the last episode and the main character of this TV show. So he comes back and he's got some sort of scarring on his face, and obviously the whole town's kind of fairly sort of racist, if you like, towards these sort of like these kind of zombie sufferers, and this guy's dad being probably one of the worst. So the dad kind of makes this announcement at this kind of ceremony, where they're kind of like honouring past victims and stuff like that. That his son is coming back, and now when his son comes back, obviously people realise that he is, a zombie. But I'm not 100% sure if his father realises he is and kind of just is sort of dealing with it in his own way, or he genuinely thinks his son is just sort of injured somehow. And I'll come on to that again in a little bit. So I guess that's the main part of this story, really, is the introduction of this character. But you've also got Kieran. I called him Liam last time. My apologies about that. Kieran decides he goes out on his own one day when his parents are out, and he meets another female zombie who is sort of just looking at her own gravestone, as he wanted to do, and they decide to sort of like go out and just sort of spend the day together. And she's a lot more of a free spirit and kind of is less afraid to sort of show her true nature. She doesn't wear the contacts and things like that, and she doesn't try to sort of hide the fact that she's a zombie. Well, she does initially, but after a little while, she doesn't bother. And she's a fun character. She's got quite a good sense of humour, and there's some goods because Kieran's quite sort of uptight. It's kind of sort of quite a good mixture, those two. And they go back to the town, and basically this militant resistant guy's taken his undead son for a drink in the pub, and this is the pub where all the sort of like all the sort of resistant fighters used to go to. And this is where I was a bit confused, because Kieran and this girl turns up, and this guy's quite hostile towards them, but he's not to his son. He seems to have bonded with his son straight away. So I'm not 100% sure if, to be honest with you, he knows that he's a zombie and he's just kind of just not dealing with it, or whether he just genuinely thinks this guy is just hurt. I just don't know. I thought he did know he was a zombie, because there's a scene early on where they kind of, there's one of the support workers sort of going through with his wife, what happens, and things like that. But when he's sort of acting so sort of like hostile towards Kieran and this female zombie, I'm thinking, well, does he know that his son's a zombie? I don't actually know. To me, that wasn't exactly clear. And then the final scenes of this episode basically have a reports of a rabid zombie in the woods, and this guy, the son being in the army, goes out to help, and he brings Kieran along with him. And there is indeed a zombie in the woods. In fact, there's actually 2. And it turns out that it looks like a father and daughter, this little girl zombie. And they don't appear to be particularly hostile. They actually look like they're kind of this male zombie, rabid zombie, is actually sort of looking after this girl. And basically Kieran sort of talks them into sort of taking them in their lives so they can be treated, or semi-alive, whatever you want to call it, whilst they kind of wanted to kill him first of all. So a couple of things with this episode. I still don't like the acting of Kieran's dad. I said the last time I reviewed the last episode, I didn't think his parents were particularly good acting. and okay, maybe his mum's okay in this episode. I thought Kieran's mum was okay, but his dad, I just don't think he's a very good actor. I know he's meant to be a little bit clueless and stuff like that, but he just seems like a spoof character to me. So I don't like his father's acting. It just seems too cartoonish to me. And it still has this sort of these sort of racism vibes, where they're kind of making a segregated portion of the pub and things like that. So it's still having that sort of like racism metaphor and things like that. And then when we see these two sort of like wild zombies, I'll call them, in the woods, it kind of, I think that the show maybe a little bit unfairly kind of makes you feel almost sorry for them, because they don't actually attack anyone, and it shows you this kind of like father zombie almost caring for this small child zombie and things like that. And yes, it's a touch. It kind of reminds me of like sort of Frankenstein, and had all the villagers and stuff. Sort of trying to burn him and all of that sort of stuff. So that's kind of thing. But I think, hang on a second, these are zombies that have killed people when they are in this untreated state, and that's what they are. So even though it kind of the TV show wants you to feel sorry for these two zombies, when you actually sit and think about it, you think actually you can understand why people would do that, because they are, these wild untreated zombies do kill people. These two didn't, but doesn't mean to say that they couldn't have done. So, it was kind of one of those things where I think the show has kind of made you, it's designed to make you feel sorry for these two sort of zombies, but when you actually give it a thought, maybe it wasn't quite as clear cut as it first appears. But it was an enjoyable episode. But where there's only 3 episodes, I don't really know where this series is going to go, because it's a fairly slow moving show, and where it's only 3 episodes, I just don't understand what kind of arc we really have in this one. It kind of this seemed to me like it should be like maybe 10 episodes to me for it to have a sort of a complete story. I guess you could say it's more of a snapshot of what this would be like in this situation, but obviously where it's such a small